Hello, everyone. If you could just give us one moment to get our camera started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Cooking Connected. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We're excited you're all here today. We're just going to go ahead and take a moment to get our cameras started here. So my name is Jordan. Joining me today is Sajwa, as well as one of our volunteers, Julia. Both Sajwa and I are Cooking Matters program coordinators with the University of Minnesota Extension. Also joining us today is a Cooking Matters volunteer, Julia, and we will get her camera started here in just a moment. So normally a Cooking Matters class is a nutrition-based 6-week cooking class that meets in person once a week for 2 hours. Classes normally feature a nutrition educator and a chef that work together to teach our participants a little bit about nutrition and how to make a healthy, delicious, affordable meal. So following that same format, today we are going to be making the noodles with peanut sauce. This is a Cooking Matters favorite. It is by Chef Lainie Forman. Lainie Forman, excuse me. So thank you, Lainie, for this amazing recipe. Sajwa will be our chef today, and Julia will be our nutrition educator. So just like every week, we do have another survey for you all to take. For this survey, you will need a program code, which I have right here. This week's program code is, let's see here, E098330. And we have the link to the survey in the description of our videos, and I have also posted it in the live chat. So if you have a chance after this video, please go ahead and take that survey. It really helps us to continue our work in the community, as well as make our videos a little bit better every time. So like I said, please take that survey. So with that, we will go ahead and get Julia's camera started here, and I will turn it over to Chef Sajwa. Take it away.
Alrighty. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, everybody. Today we are going to be doing the noodles with peanut sauce recipe. So this is a really great recipe. It's actually really quick. I found that most of the work was done in my mise en place, which we're going to go over in just a moment. But I feel like most of the work was just prep work. A lot of it was just setting up. So you'll be surprised at how quickly you can pull together some of these recipes. The other thing I wanted to note about this recipe is that it actually serves 8. So it makes quite a bit with a little bit of prep, and there you go, you have plenty. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. As always, I'm gonna just go through a couple of rules, not rules, but things that we like to cover with Cooking Matters. First and foremost, I first cleaned and sanitized my workspace here. Cleaning means that I've removed any visible debris, and then sanitizing means that I've, used a disinfectant spray of some sort to get rid of any bacteria that might still be residing on my surface. And, part of eating healthy is having a clean, healthy meal. And that's just cleanliness, that's a part of that. So I like to take care of that. And then secondly, I did wash my hands for 20 seconds, making sure to get in between my fingers like so, all around your wrist, definitely underneath those fingernails. Don't forget those fingernails. You can sing the happy birthday song twice or your ABCs to help you get through those 20 seconds, but make sure you're washing your hands. And then finally, I kind of alluded to this already, but as you can now see, this is what my mise en place looks like. So basically, I've prepped everything. I've got everything I need out and ready to go. So when I get to working through the recipe, I can just kind of roll through it. And mise en place is what we like to dub as having your mess in place. So my mess is in place. The first thing with this recipe is you're going to want to cook your pasta. You can just use the instructions that were provided with the package. Today I have a whole grain pasta that I'm using today. And let's quickly review. The way that I knew that I had a whole grain pasta option was not by reading the front, although it does say whole grain here. It was actually by flipping it to the back where I saw that golden whole grain stamp of approval there. And then I also just wanted to double verify. And that's by, flipping the box over, and I took a look here at my ingredients list and I see Durham whole wheat flour. So this is indeed a good source of whole grains. So I cooked my pasta and I did that ahead of time for us. So I just have that here. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is we're gonna work on our sauce and our veggies. For our sauce, this peanut sauce is gonna be really awesome. This is optional, completely optional, but you can add a little bit of garlic. And since I am a big fan of garlic, I am gonna take that opportunity. Whoops, I'm gonna add that garlic in there. So I've already rinsed my garlic. I'm just gonna set my knife down with the blade facing away from me. And I'm gonna use the bottom of my hand, the palm there, and just kind of push down on that blade to get that crack. There we go. And this is really gonna make it easy to just peel off that skin. It just peeled off just there. And I'm gonna save that for my vegetable broth bag later on. So I've got my garlic. I see it's got a little blemish there. I can just cut that out. There's no problem with that. And I'm gonna save these little bits and pieces for my broth bag later. Set that there. I'm gonna do a couple of little slices here just to get my garlic a little small. And then we're gonna work with our mincing technique. I do wanna note though, before I get to our mincing technique, notice how I'm holding my knife here. I am pinching the blade with my index finger and then my thumb on the back and wrapping my fingers around the blade like so. And that's giving me a lot of control as I'm working and making it a lot easier for me to handle my knife there. The other hand, although this is a very small item, I have a little tiny claw going on. So don't forget your claw, no matter what kind of item you're cutting. So now I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna do kind of a pivot with the tip of my knife kind of remaining in the same spot. And I'm gonna go around and pivot and chop like so. And that's gonna be our mince for today. So I just pivot around here. And as my garlic gets unruly, I'm gonna gather it up with the back of my blade. Like so, to a nice tidy pile. And then I'm gonna go back through again with that nice mincing pivot move that we talked about. Now there is another way that you can go about mincing, and I can show you guys that too. Why don't we regather our garlic here, like so. And what I can do with this method is I can hold my knife at the bottom here with my index finger and thumb, and then hold the top of the knife with the other hand and just go up and down like that. So that's another way that you can mince, and you just go up and down like so. Very easy. We're taking it back to the basics with this recipe. All right, so I'm working that mince. And now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the bowl for my garlic sauce. And again, for my peanut sauce, the garlic is optional with this recipe, but it is one of the chef notes. So the great thing about these Cooking Matters recipes is that they always have these really great chef notes at the bottom, different ways that you can modify the recipe, different tips for cooking, substitutions, all of that great stuff. I really like that feature about Cooking Matters recipes. So I've added my garlic. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna combine our peanut butter and some warm water, and we're gonna stir that together to create a nice smooth and thin sauce. So let me grab my water. I have a bowl of warm water over here. And for the water, I'm gonna need a 1/3 cup. Pull that out of my water right there. All right. The next thing we're gonna wanna do is add our peanut butter. I need a 1/4 cup of peanut butter. A moment to measure that out. Maybe I'll use my knife. It's always tough when you get down to the bottom of a large peanut butter jar like this, because I find that my hands always get a little bit of peanut butter where I don't want them to have peanut butter, so. Okey-dokey, and I think maybe one more scoop might get us there. Gotta get down in there. Alrighty. So I've got my 1/4 cup. I'm gonna add that to my sauce bowl right here. You know, the peanut butter is a really great source of protein. Also, I just really enjoy peanut flavor. Oh my goodness, that really can amplify even the simplest of recipes. And it's oftentimes something we commonly have in the kitchen, you know. So that makes it also another great option. All of these things I pretty much had in my kitchen.
So our viewers, one of our viewers said that she tried the tahini instead of the peanut sauce like suggested, and she said it was very good. So thank you for that suggestion. One of our other viewers would like to welcome our little mascot that Julia has today. So,
oh, I didn't even notice. Welcome.
Yeah. His name is Jack.
How sweet.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, Julia.
Good. Just making sure. My Zoom has been freaking out a little bit, so.
Yeah, technology. It's been very helpful during this time, but also it's kind of hard to navigate sometimes.
Sometimes. But I am here and I am ready to go with some nutrition education. Whenever you have a break, Sajua, just let me know and I'll jump in.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, I this is a really quick recipe, so you'll actually have plenty of time in the end to fill us in with all of your wonderful nutrition knowledge.
Perfect.
So as you guys can see here, I've got my sauce here. It's nice thin, it's nice and smooth, just as suggested. The next thing we want to do is add our soy sauce. So today I've chosen a less sodium soy sauce option. And you know, this is a really great thing to do. Soy sauce, man, it's really high in sodium. And even when looking at the nutrition facts panel for this less sodium, I see that it's still got quite a bit, 410 milligrams, and that's only in a 1 tablespoon serving. That's quite a bit. And you know, normally we don't measure our soy sauce by tablespoon. So you guys really want to be careful with that. And I just think that getting a low sodium option like this, a great way to control the amount of salt that you're adding in. If you don't have a low sodium option, no problem. You're just going to want to make sure that you don't add too much salt. Maybe wait to the end of your recipe, then decide if you need a little sprinkle on top. But just keep that in mind when you're working with soy sauce. So with our soy sauce, we also need a 1/4 cup. I'm going to use my peanut butter cup here because I like to save dishes. All right, there's my 1/4 cup. I'm going to pour that guy in there. Sweet. And next, we need to add our vinegar and sugar. So I've got some apple cider vinegar here today. And for the vinegar, we're just going to need 2 tablespoons of this guy. Okay, 1 and 2. Fabulous. And finally, I want to go ahead and add my sugar. So for the sugar, we're just going to need 4 teaspoons of sugar. Actually, let me grab my teaspoon out of my drawer here. Looks like I missed this guy in my mise en place. That is okay. All right, 4 teaspoons. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Awesome. Now we're going to go ahead and mix this into our until our sugar dissolves. And at this point, you can add in some red pepper flakes as well. Oops, not in the camera. Red pepper flakes as well. That's up to you. It's definitely optional. But if you like a little spice, you can add that in. You guys probably know by now I am definitely going to take on that red pepper challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 teaspoons of red pepper flakes. And you know, if 2 teaspoons is too much, you could always do a sprinkle, 1 teaspoon, whatever is comfortable for you. So I'm adding that second guy in there because I am ready for the challenge. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and stir that together. And we're just gonna stir until our sugar is nice and dissolved in the sauce. Nice thin sauce, creamy brown color. Now, the next part of our recipe is cooking our vegetables. We are going to want to steam our vegetables. And, you know, this recipe recommends something like a frozen vegetable, like a broccoli or a snow pea. But really, you could use any vegetables that you have left over in this recipe. You know, they will all work really well. And the sauce adds a lot of nice flavor to them. Today I've opted to use some broccoli, and I went ahead and steamed this ahead of time for our camera's sake. TV magic, as we like to call it. So I'm gonna add that to my bowl with my noodles. But you know, if you weren't in a position to steam vegetables, you could also, you know, steam them in the microwave. This recipe comes with some great instructions as to how to do that. And again, you would just put it in a microwave safe bowl, add a half cup of water, and then you would steam it for 3 to 5 minutes and then do a drain on that. And that's just simple steaming vegetables. So now that that's done, I've got my veggies together, I've got my noodles here. I'm just gonna pour and mix all of this goodness together. Just like that. Trying to get all those pepper flakes because I really like that spice. So we've got that, and it's as simple as mixing at this point. And it, like I said, this recipe is so quick and easy. Let me give this a good toss.
Sajwa, are there any other spices that you would suggest to add to this recipe?
Yes, actually, I was going to get to that next. Thank you. That's a great question. For this recipe, you could also add a little bit of, oops, I don't want my pepper flakes to fall there. You could add a little bit of ginger. You know, in the chef notes here, it says that you could add a little bit of ginger. Again, the garlic like we did. You can use fresh ginger or, you know, dried ginger, the powder form, which is what I have here today. I think that adds a nice kick there to it. So that's one option that I like. And, you know, aside from spices, if you wanted to add other elements to this dish to kind of amplify it, you could always consider something like a firm tofu. That would work really well. A chicken, you know, shrimp, you could do steak, any kind of that thing like that. I also think this would work well with like a chickpea. If you wanted to keep it vegetarian, a chickpea would really be a really nice addition of protein in there. But yeah, this is a very simple dish here. And I do think that the soy peanut butter sauce that we have going here adds a lot of flavor. That's gonna really help. Let me get my plate. I'm just gonna plate this guy up here. It's very easy.
That was super fast.
Yeah. Alrighty. And like I said, you guys could add, you know, quite a variety of different vegetables on here. This dish can also be served warm or cold. You know, that's really up to you. You can also garnish it with a bit of green onions. That would work really nice. Maybe some cilantro or lime would go well with this too. So those are all things to consider. But that is our noodles with peanut sauce recipe, just like that. And we've got plenty of time left for you, Julia, to do a little nutrition education.
Perfect. Well, I was just going to talk a little bit about whole grains again. And I know you mentioned that earlier about how you can tell if it's whole grain. And we've talked about it before here, where it's important to get a lot of whole grains in your diet. You know, the My Plate, which is kind of like the new food pyramid, suggests getting at least half of the grains that you eat in a day to be whole grains. And I just want to kind of hit on some of the reasons why that's good, because it's one of those things that we hear all the time, that whole grain is so much better and we need to try and eat whole grain all the time. But, you know, you don't exactly always know why they recommend that. So I'm just going to go through a couple things here, with Jack whipping me in the face with his tail. So one of the great things about whole grain is that there's more fiber in it than refined grains. And by refined grains, I mean anything that's like white. So like white bread, white flour, stuff like that. White pasta, in this case, with the noodles, those are all refined grains. And so the difference is that whole grain, surprise, surprise, uses the entire grain. And refined usually takes off the outside layer. And that's where all this fiber is. And fiber is really good. Again, it helps our bodies stay on track with, it adds bulk through our digestive system. So it really makes it easier for our bodies to get everything through our digestive system and help absorb a whole bunch of different nutrients and everything. Another thing that's great about whole grains is they're packed with B vitamins. Iron, folate, selenium, potassium, and magnesium are all found in whole grains. And So just to highlight a couple of those, folate is super important. And you might have heard about folate or folic acid as a supplement in pregnant people, which is super important for pregnancy to help the baby develop well. Some things that it can do for everybody, for us as adults or as kids, or for a growing baby, it helps develop red blood cells. So our bodies are constantly getting rid of old cells and building new cells. So folate helps us build red blood cells. It can help build DNA in our cells, and it can help cells divide. So that's, again, really helpful because all day long, our bodies are recycling these cells, skin cells or stomach cells or anything like that. That's happening all the time. And so cell division is what makes new cells for us, that makes it so that we don't wither away into nothing. So that's what the folate is great for. Iron is another one that whole grains have that white refined grains really don't have a whole lot of. And iron is really good. It helps make proteins that carry oxygen throughout our bodies. So when we breathe, we inhale a whole bunch of fresh oxygen, especially if you have plants around. They actually make oxygen for us to breathe, which is why the rainforests are so great. But without iron and without those proteins that we need, there's no way that it would be able to get to the rest of our body. So iron helps make the proteins that sit on the red blood cells that carries oxygen throughout our bodies, and it can deliver it to our muscles. It delivers it to our organs, our intestines to help us digest things. And all of our cells need oxygen. So that's what iron is really important for. And if you're iron deficient, they call that anemia. And that just means that your body's not doing that well enough. You're not getting oxygen everywhere that you need it. So iron supplements are helpful in that. I know a couple weeks ago, we talked about my cast iron pan and how that actually infuses iron into your foods a little bit. So that's another great way to kind of sneak that in a little bit more. The last one that I wanted to touch on is magnesium. And that's one that, you might not have heard of in our food, maybe on the, periodic table, but it's not something that gets highlighted a lot in our food, but it is super important. The main thing that magnesium does for us is it helps develop and maintain our muscle function and our nerve function. So obviously muscles are super important for everything from running and jumping, but our heart is also a muscle. So without proper muscle function, that means that your heart can't work. So magnesium is really important to help us keep that up, and nerve function too, to keep our eyes working and to keep our sense of touch and everything like that. So that's what I wanted to highlight about whole grains this week. I know we have talked about it before, but like I said, I just wanted to dig in a little bit more and kind of give an explanation about why it's so important and why everybody keeps telling us to include the whole grains in our diets.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julia, and Chef Sajwa, for that beautiful demonstration. It's an amazing recipe. I do want to share a comment from one of our viewers. It says, I like to add some brown onions, add grated ginger, add veggies, then add the peanut butter soy sauce, broth or water, and then add some toasted peanuts and green onions to the top of this recipe. So we have got a lot of awesome suggestions. So if any of you make this recipe at home and you try something fun or different with it that we've tried, let us know, send us some pictures. We'd love to see what you guys are doing. So don't forget to comment on the recipes. Finally, don't forget to take the survey. Again, that will be posted in the description below the video. It is in the live chat as well. Here's the program code one more time. It is E098330. So if you could take those surveys, we would greatly appreciate it. And again, if you have any suggestions for future recipes, please let us know. That would be great. So Now we all get to go eat some pasta. So thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Cooking Connected. We will see you again for Cooking Connected in the next few weeks. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.